They told me he died for my sins, that I was born broken, that something inside me was so dark, so wrong, it needed blood to be cleansed. Not just any blood, but the blood of God himself. And for most of my life, I believed them. I sat in pews and sang about the cross. I closed my eyes as pastors thundered from pulpits, "He paid your debt." And I cried because I thought maybe I really was that guilty. Maybe I really was that lost. Maybe love had to look like death for someone like me. But then something happened. It didn't start in a church. It didn't begin with a sermon. It began in silence. Late one night, I was alone in my room. The noise of the world had finally quieted, and in the hush, a question pierced through my soul. What if Jesus wasn't crucified because of your sin? Well, that wasn't the reason at all. I sat up. It was like a thunderclap inside my chest. I felt everything shake, not outside me, but inside. My beliefs, my identity, my shame. I opened the Bible, not to prove, not to defend, but to actually read. I mean, really read. And what I found wasn't what I'd been told. Jesus never said, "I came to die because you are filthy." He said, "I came that you may have life and have it abundantly." He never said, "Worship me because I bled for you." He said, "Follow me." He said, "You are the light of the world." He said, "The kingdom is within you." So why the cross? Why the crown of thorns? The whip? The nails? The agony? Was it punishment or something deeper? Stay with me, because the truth is more shocking than any doctrine, more beautiful than any sermon I've ever heard, and more freeing than guilt ever could be. If this message is already stirring something inside you, don't scroll away. Hit subscribe, because what we're about to uncover, most churches will never talk about. But maybe, just maybe, Jesus meant for you to hear it now. This isn't a story about shame. It's a story about resurrection, not the one you've heard, but the one he meant for you to live. And it all starts with what they never told you about the crucifixion. I started to look where no one told me to look. Not just in the Gospels we were taught in Sunday school, but in the Gospels they buried. The Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary, the writings of the Essenes, the mystics, the Desert Fathers, and the picture that began to emerge wasn't of a Jesus sent to die, but of a Jesus sent to awaken. The crucifixion wasn't about punishment, it was an initiation. Let me say that again. It was an initiation, not a transaction, not a deal between God and sin, but a path, a portal meant to be walked. And when I began to see that, everything changed. The cross wasn't meant to be worshipped, it was meant to be understood. Let me ask you something. Why did Jesus disappear from history between the ages of 12 and 30? Why did the Gospels go silent? Do you think the Son of God just sat in a carpenter's shop for 18 years? Or was he preparing? The scrolls say he traveled to Egypt, to India, to Greece, learning, remembering. He wasn't sent to die. He was sent to remember who he truly was and show us how to do the same. You see, when he returned, he didn't come back with religion. He came back with fire. He spoke of light, not sin. He taught that the kingdom is not above us or beyond us, but within us. He said, "You will do all these things and greater." But that message, that power, it was too dangerous. The empire didn't fear miracles, it feared awakening. And the religious leaders, they didn't fear blasphemy, they feared losing control. Because if people stopped believing they were broken, if they stopped depending on priests to reach God, if they realized that God was already inside them, the whole system would collapse. So what did they do? They turned the cross into a symbol of guilt. They made Jesus into a martyr of your shame. They turned the resurrection into a doctrine and erased the code he left behind. But it's still there, encoded in every word, hidden in every action. Waiting to be remembered, not believed. Remembered. I began to see it everywhere, not just in scripture, but in my own body. The spine, the skull, Golgotha, the place of the skull. The cross, not just two pieces of wood, but a map of awakening. The spine, the staff of life. The thorns, the pineal gland, the crown of illumination. When Jesus said, "It is finished," he wasn't surrendering, he was completing the great work. The ancient mystery schools knew it. The Gnostics whispered it. The mystics lived it. Jesus didn't come to be worshipped. He came to be mirrored. So why was he crucified? Because he threatened every power structure built on control. Because he dared to say, "You are not broken. You are not lost. You are the light of the world," and light scares darkness. My friend, if you've ever felt like something about the crucifixion story didn't sit right, if you've ever wept in church and felt shame instead of freedom, then maybe your spirit has always known. They didn't kill him because you sinned. They killed him because he was dangerous to the system, because he came to set you free from it. If you're still watching, it means you're part of the few who are ready to remember. Hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, I remember. Share this message. Let it echo in the hearts of those who've been asleep too long. The cross is not the end of the story. It never was. It's the beginning of your resurrection. So there I was, sitting alone in my room, Bible in one hand, tears in the other. And suddenly, the crucifixion wasn't just a story about a man who died for the world. It was a message, a blueprint, and it was never meant to shame me. It was meant to ignite me. I finally understood. Jesus wasn't trying to pay for my sins. He was trying to show me how to rise above them, not with fear, but with fire. When they nailed him to the cross, they thought they were silencing a rebel, but they were actually activating a revolution, a spiritual uprising. You see, the moment the nails hit wood, he didn't scream in defeat. He breathed through the pain. He transcended the flesh. He became the light they could never extinguish. That light is you. It's in your bones, it's in your breath, it's the whisper you've been hearing since you were a child, that quiet voice that said, you were made for more. Not more guilt, not more sermons about how broken you are, but more truth, more love, more remembering of the divine spark that's always been inside you since the day you were born. They said he died for you, but I tell you now, he rose for you. He awakened so that you might awaken too. And now you have a choice. You can keep worshiping the cross like it's a prison, or you can carry it like it's a key. Because the cross isn't about death, it's about transformation. It's about looking your suffering in the eye and saying, you don't own me. It's about feeling your heartbreak and letting it become the hammer that forges your soul. That's what Jesus was showing us. And the world wasn't ready. So they turned his power into a statue, turned his teachings into dogma, and turned his resurrection into a myth. But you're here now. And if you've listened this far, it's not by accident. Jesus never said, worship me. He said, follow me. And following him doesn't mean bowing to guilt. It means walking through fire. It means facing your shadows, your regrets, your pain, and letting them become the portal to your own rebirth. I realized his death wasn't the end. It was the initiation of a higher humanity. And you, yes, you are part of that rising. You're not here to kneel, you're here to stand. You're here to shine, you're here to remember. So if this stirred your soul, don't let it fade. Subscribe to this channel, share this message, comment. The cross is a portal. Let the truth spread like wildfire, because this isn't just about Jesus anymore. This is about you. This is about all of us, rising, remembering, resurrecting, not someday, not after death, but now, right here. Right in the middle of your life, right in the mess, the noise, the pain. You are not dying, you are waking up. And that was the real reason he was crucified. Not because of our sin, but because of our potential. The kind of potential that terrifies empires and crumbles control. The kind of potential that can't be killed, because it is the light of God hidden inside the human heart. So I'll leave you with this. The cross is not your cage. It's your call to rise, to remember, to return to the truth they tried to bury for 2,000 years, and now it's yours to carry.